Hi, everyone. You're back. How are you? This is a recap of episode 10. We only have two more. Time really does fly, doesn't it? Everyone's in saying hi. How are you, everyone? Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. I see some new faces. Oh, goodness. So, Lisa, right away when you put the information in, I'm not going to see it. So, if you could hold off with things that you want to share until we dive in, that would be better. You might want to repeat what you wrote. All right. So, everyone's just saying hi. I'm just waiting because there's always like a pop to get in. Um, yeah, I don't know. Season 12, episode 10, and we only have two more to go. I have quite a bit to say. I didn't have much to say last night about the show itself because that's my Lucas Bouchard chats, and he wasn't in very long. He was in for all of I know it rounds it up. I'm going to round it up to like 3 minutes. He was only in for like 3 minutes. I did take the notes to see where what everyone else, well, not everyone else, but I was just curious to see about Kevin. And sometimes I feel like Kevin as Nathan has more screen time than Erin because he's in a lot of his own stuff without her, and then they have a lot of time together. This scene, that wasn't true. This episode, rather, it wasn't true. I think he had about half his own time without Erin, and Erin had twice her time without him, and then together it was like a lot of time together. When I guess I get why Erin is on often because, she is the main character. All right, I'm just saying hello and waiting for everyone to get in. All right, so I'm going to dive in right away. I wanted to talk about the very beginning when Nathan goes to visit Elizabeth and to have lunch with her. And she's in the schoolhouse with the kiddos and they're sharing, their work that they did. And I think, wow, it's such modern times. So way, way, way ahead of themselves because as a teacher, I know I move around a lot. I get antsy. I'm sorry. As a teacher, it sounded like you were in my classroom, what she was doing. And not everybody does that, even nowadays. That whole, it's PBL, project-based learning. So like they're just trying to be very progressive in Hope Valley, that little place of slice of I don't know what history is a little wonky there. But it's fun to see the kids. That I enjoy greatly. And he came to visit Nathan, and he sat down with her and he crosses his legs and he's sitting there talking. And I have to say, and you've heard me say this before, I really love the Nathan of season, I keep saying episode and I apologize, of season 12. He's softer, he's funny and snarky, but in a fun, charming way. Before it was just snark. And it's very much Kevin McGarry. If you've ever had the opportunity to like talk with Kevin, like, one-on-one or in a small group or whatever, it's as if he's not acting. It's just his personality in a Mountie suit set back in time. So the new Nathan, he's cute. He's cute, just like Kevin McGarry is cute and softer, which I like. Here's the thing about the title, though. He says it's really just the title. So he has a new title, and she's like, Nathan Grant, because she's so excited for him. And I'm thinking, wow, Erin, I love how you got to portray Elizabeth there because it was very Elizabeth and it wasn't overacting. It was cute. And I think to myself, this is great. And then it goes down that fast for me. It's like a roller coaster when I'm there because the next part of the dialogue gets on my nerves when they say, oh, she says because of all the, stuff he did with the dangerous, I forget how she words it. She words it in a fun way, but as if what he did with the Garrison gang was some big deal. It was a fool. One of the guys was a fool. Okay. The cousin and the other one on their horse never really did anything. Someone could run through the trees and the hills with a cowbell. Two kids could kind of outsmart them. What danger was that? He was on the stakeout longer than anything that, like, what kind of big story? The storyline was such a okay. It's just like was it last year or the year before when she had her panic attack and she thought, oh my God, he got shot and he died. And she cried and she had her moment in the barn. And it was like Keystone Copish, where he was there and he was at gunpoint with the guy who was mad because of the drought. Remember that a couple seasons ago? And in came Bill. And it was kind of funny that, doing the hold up. And I'm thinking, he he didn't even do anything. The last time Nathan Grant was able to do something was when he was riding on his horse and he was going after the bad guys with that shotgun and he got to twirl it and shoot. That's the last time Nathan Grant got to do some really cool mounty stuff. Otherwise, it's a anticlimactic. I don't know how you all feel about this particular scene, but let's see. That's called doing your job. I'm not sure where that's coming from, Jill. What's that mean? Yes, Oliver and Nathan. No, I'm sorry. Oliver and Allie and Elizabeth did more than Nathan in that scene. It's true. It's true. I was thinking about how wonderful it would be if Lucas, okay, I'm not talking about that part. I can't jump all over the place because I don't like that. I'm sticking straight with this piece as anybody wants to add to it. Yes, Oliver should be getting a medal. I know he's quite the clever guy. And I have to tell you, I love Oliver. Oliver is adorable. I love Jacob, the actor. He's doing a fantastic job. Very natural, doesn't overact. Like, kudos for him. Love him, love him, love him. Yes. And yes, she does mean promotion. It was a slip of the tongue, though, or the slip of the fingers when she said probation. I love that. But we know what you meant. Yes, promotion. My fingers aren't working. Maybe they were, Evis. Yes. All right. Let's see. What's Carrie saying? Yes, remember? Wyman Walden came in with the gun. I loved it. The bad guys. Yes, yes. Oh, yes. He definitely was on fire and he was angry and a lot happened to him and he had such a great storyline. Oh, they gave Nathan a great storyline, even though Elizabeth chose Lucas. We didn't see Nathan for all of one hot minute and a hot minute here. I mean, they even had stuff with him in May and oh, we should go back and track that time, right? I told you the other day I'm in a mood. I've been in a mood for days. I'm holding nothing back. So yeah, why can't they do that now? I know why. They had a different showrunner. They had a showrunner that actually was award winning. He didn't shut down shows, and yeah, very experienced. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but yeah. So anyway, I digress. Let me go on. Yes, talk about snarky. That would be me. Yes, Oliver has been a better Mountie than Nathan. Yeah, he's got some good storylines. He has. Yes. Oh, and you're not the only one, Carol, thinking that way. Nikki, I feel like it's been so long since we even seen some legit and intense Mountie action. Yes. Preach, Roxanne. I want to tell you something. People flooded my email and my messages from my podcast last night and saying all kinds of fun things. But one of the things that I loved was, or maybe it was not even maybe it was not part of an email. Maybe it was I think it was a message that a comment somebody put. But they were saying how their husband used to watch with them until the season 9 and that was it. And they happened to pop in the other day and they looked and they were like, what happened to the show? Did they decrease the amount of their budget? Because it seemed very like amateurish. Yeah, it did. Not the actors. Not the actors. The actors are seasoned actors. I've seen them in too many things outside of When Calls the Heart because we follow them. The actors are fantastic. It's not them. And a lot of the directors that they use also have other projects and their projects are fantastic. It's not that, it's the writing. And here's what I'm upset by. There are some writers that have been there for a long time and they're good. We have seen we've seen their work. It's whoever is in charge of the entire season and the direction they're trying to take it. They're overwhelmed. And we're going to get to that because I have some info about it that you might already know too, but I gotta go. I'm go around the way I want to go. Okay. So yes, Kevin is very much Kevin himself, and he's a cute, charming guy, in my opinion. And he's doing great as the Nathan Grant. And I like this Nathan Grant. I think he's capable of this Nathan, not Kevin. Kevin's great. Nathan is capable of being a family man and also, protecting and serving the town. I wish they would give him real storylines of protecting and serving the town. We don't get that anymore. But anyway, maybe someone somewhere will hear us because they hear everything else I say. All right. Next up is I really liked Emily's story. We've seen little bits of it, and they've given us little like pieces and hints of it along the way. And now I like that she's trying to find her way. And what I always like that they have always done with this show is make women were not allowed to do three-fourths of what the women do on the now on that show then. But they don't back down. That's part of the little slice of paradise own little history going on. And I like how they showed Emily kind of like embarrassed. She said, I'm embarrassed if I change my mind. And Elizabeth's like, follow your heart. She said that more than once through this whole season. Follow your heart. You can do this. I love the sawdust piece that they put in. She's cute. There was a good storyline. I'm really liking it. You like it too, Lillian? So do I. And she looks like so mature and beautiful. They're dressing her beautifully, like for a young, mature girl. And I'm so glad not everybody wants to run off and be a teacher. Now, that's no cut to the storyline or the writers, but back then, if you did work at all, you either were cooking somewhere or you weren't even a secretary. You were either cooking somewhere or you were like a nanny of some sort, a housekeeper, or a teacher. Teacher was the real true profession. And then it graduated to secretary. So, and then telephone operators, it grew. So I like that. I also like that Henry and Elizabeth had that exchange. He's such a good actor, Martin. I wish he was on more this season. I wish everybody was on more. I love when he said, "Oh, bring your teacher to school day?" I thought that was so cute. I just made myself dizzy. And then I like when he said, she said to him, you'd be a good mentor. And he said, because you're a good teacher. I just liked the whole scene with the chestnuts and even where they are outside. It was just nice. Yes, Avis, maybe a nurse. You are correct. I couldn't think of the other one. Nurse and teacher. You got it. But even nurses were limited. They were more male. They were very much limited in what they could do. But anyway, let's see. The Emily and Elizabeth scene was reminiscent of the early When Calls the Heart. It sure was, Anna Maria. I like your name. Very nice. Yes. And I do too. I knew she was going after business. Yes. 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 Lisa, you don't listen to my rules, Lisa. You keep mentioning things that I am not ready to mention, and it's good stuff. You're going to make me have to go back through and try to find it. All right. Let's talk about what else? What are some other things that here's what I loved. Here's me. At first I was like, who wrote this? I missed who wrote it. So I found out it was the two co-showrunners, Lindsay and Joy. And I'm like, okay, because the first, I don't know, to the commercial and right after the commercial, I was like, yes, this is finally, such a good story. They are somehow running two stories and they're all going together and everybody's got a part this time. And I see Edie and Lucas, and then I see the rest of the town. I'm like, this is fantastic. And then it went and took a nosedive down. It was I'm like, what happened here? This is an amateurish mistake. So we have Edie and Lucas. She comes into his office and then she announces, like, he's like, being sued, right? Before he tells anybody, he mentions it to her. He didn't say sued. He said whatever the word is. I'm going to use sued. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm no longer. That's not for me. I pulled myself. And he's got like a look. Oh, I love when he goes out to announce that he's being sued. And Lee is there. And so is Mountie Nathan. Lee's like, "Oh, she chose a choice and she made a choice. I'm glad she chose, the right side." And Nathan's like, "Okay, I'm going to go out there with you." Cause he's like, "I'm going out there to see McGinty." And people were saying, fans were like, Lucas doesn't, I know we saw Edie for 2 seconds. We did, Lucy. Lucas, that's not him. He thinks before he goes. Yeah. Well, that's not the same Lucas. And he's a spicier guy these past few seasons. And here's the thing about him. If it was directed solely at him, he would not have gone out there. He would have handled it. He was worried about Edie and how he was coming. They were coming after her. And that part of him that doesn't realize how he's feeling, because we're not going to rush him into a love relationship, or his heart doesn't want to, because it's been a while between, since the breakup of Elizabeth and him, and they want to pretend it never happened, but anyway. So, and I don't care if you don't like it, that's okay. I do. So he's going out there because he's like, he wants to protect her. And that is Lucas. He wants to protect her. I was okay with that. And that Mountie Nathan went out there. Wow. It took episode 10 for them to share a whole whopping 2 minutes together. Wow. Weren't we the lucky ones? So I love when they arrived on the horses, right? I mentioned this last night, sort of like their little standoff thing. And then they come to the ground. Like the guy who plays McGinty was funny. "I'm shaking in my boots," he went. He was great. And, first they have to hold Lucas back because he wants to get him. He wants to walk and charge him. And then they have to hold back Nathan because he says something too about his daughter. And then it all kind of unravels from there and they go away. Okay, we never see Lucas again. Lucas is bye-bye. Instead, Bill and Lee and Henry come together and they have a standoff and they play their cards, with like, "Oh, you're taking off my land," and he winds up, in big whoopee-doo trouble, McGinty, and off they go. They solve that kind of, because there's the whole Allie and Ollie. I love calling them that. The Ollie, Nathan and not Nathan, Allie and Ollie talking to Nathan and Elizabeth and what they saw, and then they put it all together, and yay, everybody saves the day. Now, this is Edie, who has 3 days to figure out where she's going to get money that she doesn't have. This is Edie, who, if she left her place to come here, is going to be homeless. This is Edie, who is living up inside the hotel, okay, until further notice. And she doesn't attend the party. She doesn't attend the Harvest Festival, the community Harvest Festival. Mm, mm. Who started those? Lucas? He doesn't get to attend either. What happened to him? Where is he? We're supposed to pretend that they're off on her land having a conversation. Why? Why do we have to pretend? Why do you tell us and not show? You didn't even tell us. This was even worse. You're supposed to tell us. We're supposed to imagine. Well, I'm going to imagine this. He fell into a ditch. Was that the wrong thing to imagine? She got on a train and left forever. Is that the wrong thing to imagine? I don't know, because you don't bother to show them. So let's see, because I got something to say. It was solved thanks to Oliver and what he found out in the Mountie handbook. Nathan didn't even know that information. I know. Wasn't Edie a lawyer? Yeah. And she left, Shay. She decided to pull herself from all of that. It's like the showrunners are afraid of putting Lucas, Elizabeth, and Nathan together in a scene. Why? We're going to talk about it. Promise it's coming. Lillian, you must have said something great, because Ava says, "I know." When did Lucas shrink? Yeah. I love that, because I think it was Janine on X put a photo up, and I couldn't find it. I think Janine may have changed her, like, how you get to follow her or whatever. She's probably had a lot of crazies saying some stuff to her. But anyway, they showed a picture of them standing together. And I think between the hat and maybe his heels on his boots, he looked ginormous standing next to Chris, but we know what their true heights are. So we've already talked about that. Whether that was on purpose or not, I don't know. The fans are so, like, tipping toeing on eggshells kind of thing, or so what is that called? Post-traumatic syndrome. They got, like, everything. You wonder if every little thing is done on purpose. Yeah. Lucy, what did you love? I love the scene with Nathan and Lucas. They had each other's backs. Yes. All of like 2 minutes. That was it. Yes. I'm not saying they didn't have their backs after that, but that was it. That scene went bye-bye. They moved on to something else. Lucas disappeared. Where'd he go? We don't even know. There wasn't even a thing where he could have ran off and said, oh, I'm going to talk to Edie, or when Lee and Bill and Henry together and all that happened, they're like, we got to tell Lucas. They didn't even do that, or tell Edie. That was just like nothing. Yes. Why wasn't Lucas at the festival dinner? I don't know. This is Delphine. Hello. Have you been here before? Because I don't remember your name. I love that you're here though. Thank you. Let's see. Yes, it was all solved too soon. No show, no tell. Well, they kind of showed. I'm okay, Carol. I'm actually okay with that. They did show it. They showed them all having conversations. They approached Lee. They explained all of it, especially Oliver and Allie. Then they had them all come together. I was even okay with that. Yes, PTSD. Thank you, Anna Marie. I'm good with all of that. It's just that there should have been more to it. Okay, so now they're, like I said, having that community party, why they couldn't have them possibly there. I was so curious that I broke down and I was like, let me take all of maybe a few minutes, let me skim through and let me watch what Brian Bird and Joy, the new co-showrunner, had to say about maybe this particular scene or maybe Lucas and Edie in general, right? And they had the nerve, the hosts, to actually say what's going on. Why is it that some fans feel, why is it on purpose or coincidence? I'm paraphrasing. Why Edie and Lucas are always off by themselves. They never do anything together within the community. And it is purposefully done, but also I want you to go and watch it. Okay. I want you to watch it because I want you to watch what she has to say. She talks about she being Joy, how he's governor, and she didn't say it, but she almost did. And this is my take. They're struggling to figure out a storyline. They love the Lucas character. They love him. He's going to have a prominent storyline. I don't know what they think prominent is. Okay. But he's a valuable citizen. Okay, show us that. And they're like, we don't want to introduce all these other new characters if he's in Capital City. So we're trying to keep him local. So we're trying to keep him with a storyline that can go with everybody else. And we're trying to develop their relationship. Really? And you couldn't figure out as a showrunner how to do it differently? They need to tune into the podcast and they need to read the comments because the fans have so many suggestions and they're fantastic. The fans, I think, know the show better than, they do, apparently. So basically, they don't know what to do. They're not quite sure. And they think they did it, but they fell short. People need to know. I got an idea. About this. If I'm a little nervous about it because I don't want to have a million emails, but whatever. People wrote me beautiful things, and I'm not going to forward your email to somebody because that's just rude. But your feelings about everything that you send to me, I wish you would send it and that I can forward it. Because wouldn't it be great if I had 1,000 emails or 500 or whatever, and I was able to put them in a file and package them and send them to the person who's in charge of publicity and the big wig that's in charge of social media and promotion, and say, this is how your fans are feeling. If you try to send an email to the service part of Hallmark, it is not for that. Many people think that's what it is. That's not what it's for. That email is not for storylines and things like that. That email is different. That's for like your service isn't working or something's not showing up or whatever. Send them to me. I'll put them in a file and I'll send them over. But I never want to do that. Like I could do that right now, but I don't have permission. People privately emailed me. Do you know what I mean? I would love for them to read it. Say, here, we got some suggestions to you. And what you think you're doing is falling short and it's okay. Now, Let me see what y'all have to say, because then I have a few more things to say. I'm on a roll. I'm so fed up and tired. Listen, when calls the heart, you know this, I've watched it from the very first time it ever came on. I could see myself. I know where I am with my Bella sitting on the couch with me, my little puppy dog, and I'm watching. Tell everybody, zip it, go out, leave me alone. I'm in the living room on the one corner of the side watching it and falling in love with every minute of it. And I have never missed one episode. I have seen every single episode, if not, I mean, definitely once, but 2 times or more, okay? Certain things even more than others. Multiple times for studying it for different reasons or just wanting to watch it. I love it. I love Erin. She's like my favorite. I love the character of Elizabeth. I've loved all of it, and I don't recognize it right now. It kills me, it breaks my heart, and it gives me anxiety. And that's when I was talking to my family, some people in my family, I said, they said, "What is wrong with you? Do you need like therapy?" And they weren't joking. They're like, "What is," I said, "It's so aggravating." Something that brought me pure joy, so much so that I said, "Oh, I'm going to do like a podcast." And I start off with recipes and videos. This is so exciting. Oh my God, I love this. This will be a great hobby for me because I get bored. And it has turned into a painful, aggravating situation where people are the nastiest fans I've ever met are Hearties. Nasty to each other, nasty on both sides, nasty. Okay. It really brings out the nastiness. And as a producer, Brian Bird is extremely vocal, but I don't feel like he's putting out the fires. I feel like he's flaming fanning the flames. And it's heartbreaking because this show is a shell of what it used to be. And it's aggravating. And it's a show. I love when my family members are like, "Well, it's a show." And I think to myself, as I come out of it, I feel like I'm leaving a cult. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It is a show, but it's like a hobby. I'm like, "You love golfing. You're over there. You love hunting." I can't stand the hunters in my family. They make me upset, but that's okay. I have my house is on a nature preserve, a fishing and gaming nature preserve. But anyway, I got lots of hunters in my family. That's besides the point. I digress. Like, this is my passion. I love it. I was like so excited. It was delicious. And little by little, it has been stripped. And you know what? Listen, I blame the showrunners. I blame whoever is in charge. You stink. I am sorry, but you're breaking people's hearts and you're tearing down a phenomenal show. And as a showrunner, you know what's on your back? All the people. If this show fails, all those people are out of a job. Get with it. Get it together. If it's so overwhelming for you, then go take some classes, take some direction, dig through what the fans have to say, and listen to the real fans, because they thought they were listening to the real fans because certain fandoms knew how to tweet and go on X and do whatever. And then they did a flippy flop, which has been a flop, flop, flop. And then when the other side of the fandom got together, we have been successful every single week, every Sunday for 2 years. Even in the summer, I remember someone saying, "Why are you still tweeting?" Because we're showing our support. Our numbers are higher than even the Hardy number hashtag. So anyway, this is go do some real research and write some real stories and knock it off because you're ripping apart a show that we love. Okay. Why doesn't Lucas get more respect from the community? Listen, that's how they're writing it, Catherine. They don't see it that he's not getting respect. Again, they don't see it that way because they don't know how to write it. What they think they're writing, this is important. I remember as a writer, my editor early on, I learned this. And my editor, I loved him. I stayed with him for years. Even when he like moved around, he said to me, "The very thing that you get so hooked on and you love, and you come into my office and I got to tell you, you have to cut it out. You got your backup, right?" And he said, "It happens to all writers. You're so in love with this scene, but I'm telling you, it does not work. It works in your head because you see it and you think what you're writing makes it what is in your head. I'm a reader and I don't see it." And so he was always right. He was never, never wrong. Cut it out. cut it, move it, change it, do whatever. They don't see what they're writing. They think in their head that Lucas has a great storyline. They think that popping him in for 2 minutes here and 1 minute there is great. They think keeping Edie and Lucas off in their own little corner shows a growing relationship with them, where they could just have each other with their dialogue so it doesn't interfere with everybody else. Okay, but you don't give us enough time for that. So instead, we get little dribs and drabs of a storyline, and then you expect it to be okay. You're falling short, Joy. You were talking with Brian Bird, and I could see, watch it, watch what she says. They're struggling and they need to change it. Joy doesn't know the show. She admitted that. Oh, there we go again. Listen, number one rule, I don't know if I got any writers here. Number one rule is don't try to write something you don't know. If you don't know it, go do your research. Get immersed in it. Go interview people. I remember the first time I had to write a story, I had to, because I was part of a series and it was police officer. And I'm thinking, oh, good Lord, I don't know about shooting a gun. Now, again, I have hunters. That's a different kind of shooting. So I had to go find my friend from back in the day who was a sharpshooter, and we would have dinner together and long conversations and show me the gun and talked about everything. And I took a tour of the police station, the whole thing. I had to immerse myself in it. They because he knew me, he shared some of the stories of things that happened, what it felt like. And that was for me to write one story. You don't know the show, don't write for it. Sit down, find somebody else, or immerse yourself in it. You know what? Call up the fans. Say, guess what? I'm the new showrunner. This is what I would do. I'm serious about this. I'm the new showrunner. I really want to get a feel for this. I'm going to host I don't know, a gathering, and you can join me. I'll take the first 50 in a Google Meet, and I want to hear all your stuff that you have to say. There's a great post on the When Calls the Heart Lucas Bouchard site by poster Roxanne V. She gives a synopsis every week, and it's awesome. She is pro Lucas. Okay, I'm pro When Calls the Heart. I want the whole show to be fixed, not just Lucas. Lucas will get the medicine for Jack, and it'll endear him to all, especially Elizabeth and Nathan. Susan, Lucas is not getting the medicine. It's Mike and May. They know where the medicine is, and they actually have to go on like it's like a race for time kind of thing. Nikki, they have PTLS, post-traumatic Lucas syndrome. They are afraid to give him too much screen time and story because he is so popular, which is dumb. You want to know this. This was what my favorite compliment that people sent me. And it wasn't just one person either, because I think I told you this, like I've been in love with Jesus since I was like 3 and could figure out what Jesus was. And I talk all the time and I'm like, Lord, what is wrong? Should I just say done, move on? And then I get these emails where all these people are saying different things. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Is that a sign? Like I'm questioning myself over a show, right? And most people said, because I mentioned the retcon, I said, I know exactly when it was that I was in trouble. And they were very leery to allow anybody to be permitted on my podcast. And many people mentioned the retcon. They even made comments. Actually, you can see it's publicly under last night's podcast episode. You can go back and go look at the comments. Several people said, it was because you watched, because of your retcon. And I did not start out saying it was a retcon. Other people did, and people didn't understand what it was. And I said, on a Saturday morning, let me do, or afternoon, let me do a little explanation. I put retcon up there, what it meant and how we went about it. Okay. Or what happened with it. So anyway, people said to me, it's because I was able to say to myself, okay, it's a different storyline. I'm going to look at 1 through 9 as happily ever after they moved on and start fresh with these next few episodes. And I mean, next few seasons. And people were saying I wasn't going to watch the show. And I'm not making this up. Go look at it. There are public posts. And that the Hallmark should thank you because you you inspired a lot of people to go back and actually watch it when we were not going to. And I've heard that often. And I thought, well, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I guess there's two sides to seeing everything. And that was a nice compliment. All right. It's become so sad. I know. They don't want Lucas and Aaron in this. You mean Chris and Aaron, or you mean Lucas and Elizabeth in the same scenes because they have on-screen chemistry? Avis, they do. And okay, fine. I'm fine if they really aren't and don't really interact that much. I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with this is new. We're not going back. You've heard me say that. It's not, I don't have that argument. You have never once heard me say, and I won't, oh, they should flip it and they should go back to Lucas and no, that they moved on. But what I'm trying to say is they have to have better writing for everybody. Where was Minnie's storyline? Where was Joseph's storyline? I love the Canfields. Where was it? Like, there's better ways of writing these stories. I'm sorry, we got to see like Edie and Lucas, and it's not because it's Edie and Lucas, it's just that these two people, one's being sued and the other one is being sued, and all because he wants to put a park together. And if it does go through, then he lets down all of the people who want the park. So it's like a lose situation. And the other one's going to lose her family homestead and be homeless and in debt. And they solve the problem and they don't tell them. And what would it mean for them to have a seat at the table and even for you to scan around at the community, whatever, at the community party, harvest fall party? What? Ooh, 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 ooh. I followed the show since day one and I love it. But this whole season has been the absolute worst and it's been so disappointing. Hi, Nikki. Brian Bird likes to stir the pot. I don't recognize it either. I'm struggling watching these episodes. All right. So now let's talk about Mike and May. We're going to get to the insulin part at the end. Mike and May. Remember, they were our little love story in the wedding because we were promised a wedding. We finally got a wedding, but it was them who got married. And they had the sweetest love story. And they were the couple I didn't know I needed to have. It was one of my favorite things last season. And they changed May. I'm okay. All right. You changed her again. I'm okay with that. But you really changed them again. And you made Mike and May, I like fun, but you made them cartoonish and silly. It's like slapstick. It's silly. You know what else gets to be slapstick? When Elizabeth and Rosemary are running around trying to solve a mystery and they're so dramatic. There's a place for that, but not with this. It just pulls it down. I can see why someone would pop in and say, did they lower the budget because something's wrong here? There's silly and then there's slapstick, and some of that doesn't fit. Mike and May are just too silly. Even when they were in the scene last week, upset and fighting because, they forgot that they were supposed to be running the kitchen while Minnie was away. And they were trying to wait on Lucas and Edie. Even that's not written correctly. That's poorly written. And that's, I don't know, you're degrading a couple that I love. All right. Bill comes in, sits down at the dinner, and he tells Allie and all of them who are depressed, Allie and Ollie together, that they are okay, and explains the whole thing, and they're all excited. And Elizabeth's like, oh, she's back to the Elizabeth that is overreacting. Like, Erin is a phenomenal actress. Who is writing this? Who's directing her to be so, she's always so, Now, Kevin as Nathan's not overacting. He's great coming into his own. Her character is like falling down. I don't know who you are. You know what I mean? Yes, they are wanting bigger ratings, so they do bigger ratings. The viewership, they're not even into ratings. Their ratings, they can't be into ratings because their ratings are super, super low, the lowest that has ever been. And yes, it has, this is not a lie. It has a lot to do with how people watch TV is changing. I get that, but it's lower than just that. I get it. They're talking about viewership. I don't know. They're going about it in the wrong way, and they're not getting the viewership. You know, when they slap up those numbers and they tell you 2.2 million because they've added a piece from here and a hocus pocus there and a flip flop there, and they added it all together and they got 2.2 million. And let's say it's all valid by that. What is that agency that I told you about earlier? Is it Peacock? No. What was it called? It's got a crazy name. Remind me what it is. They collect and measure stuff. So anyway, it's not Nielsen. When they do that, okay, that's great to put a random number. What was it the year before? What's the viewership the year before? Let's look at that. It's always going to be lower, and I'll tell you why. There isn't that much of a significance more of viewership, and the ratings are added in there, and the ratings are the lowest they ever been. So you're already starting in a deficit. So yes, great, 2.2 million, but it's not the same. It's been going down, and they should take notice so they don't kill their own show. I'm not saying they're not going to get a 13. They are. And 2.2 million is good viewership wise. It is. It's just not where it used to be, and it needs to get better because you're losing people by the bucket loads. They're getting angry. They don't want to come back. You're pissing people off. All right. The end of season 10 was devastating to many. Hard to find the joy any longer. Catherine, When Calls to Heart is another version of its original self, but I still watch it because of years of investment in, yes, the characters. Anna Marie. I used to be excited on Sundays to watch When Calls the Heart. After season 10, we have to accept that this is a new show. Yes, we used to find joy and enjoy the courtship and relationship that we witnessed over 3 years with. That's true. But again, I'm over that. I'm talking about present time with the new storylines. I would love to know what John Tinker thinks about what they did to his story. You know what, Lillian? I don't know. But here's the thing. All showrunners come in and put their own little twist on things. You know, they all do. But this isn't a twist. This is something totally different. And they keep changing their characters and rewriting stuff and falling short. They are dying for higher ratings because that is why there are so many podcasts and interviews lately. Suspenders Unbuttoned had 2 today, and H2H had 1. Brian Bird is the Titanic. I think what happened is Suspenders Unbuttoned is going to interview everybody, as is the Hearties, the official Hearties. They're going to interview everyone that participates in the show, which I think is nice that you get to do that. And it feels like they had to because they've been interviewing them and holding them and then releasing them because neither are live. So they've got them. They're just releasing them and releasing them. They probably got tons all the way up to the finale and maybe right after the finale, which is kudos for them. But just because, listen, that one that Hearties did, that didn't endear me to the storyline. That just, you know what that did? Me as a viewer, it said, oh yeah, okay, Roxanne, I get it. You're right, because I saw what Joy said. I watched her hesitate. I watched her back herself and get herself out of a corner where she was trying to say writing for the governor was basically not easy. And we don't want to get all these extras that we have to hire all these people to be in capital city. So we want to keep them close, and we got to give him a storyline that's something that's more on the local level. And yeah, you don't know what to do. Figure it out. That's why you're the showrunner, not ruiner, runner. Okay. Most of the fan fiction writers can write better stories. Yes, that's Lucas. Don't forget Avis. I know we have a lot of Lucas fans here, but there's a whole other cast that you could be writing for. There's a lot of people that are kind of left out. Not only did When Calls the Heart bring me pure joy, but your podcasts have sustained me through well, Annie, that's nice. Thank you. With everything such a disconnect, it makes me wonder what's on the editor's cutting floor. I know. Was there a scene that was missed? See, that's the kind of questions that I would ask. I would say, we didn't see that scene between Edie and Lucas. Did it really happen and maybe get cut out? I would ask those things. These are things we would want to know. Hard COVID times, keep speaking the truth. Hi, everyone. Hi, Bryce. Sorry you're late. That's okay. Do you think the writers know enough to do an about face and get the series back on track? About face? It's not that the series is off track. It's that they don't understand or they don't have the talent or the gift. I hate to say it that way because that's mean, but they don't have, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I'm going to say they don't have the talent. Whoever's in charge of the overall arc of a story, it's not their forte. And they either have to make everything episodic, like, 1, 2, 3, and the story's done, 4, 5, 6 stories done, or they have to figure out how to make it all go together. They also have to stop wasting precious time with Ava, like Ava's storyline about the play. It just doesn't fit when you got people so desperate for other parts. I know that the play allowed the other characters to have a minute. I know that the what was the other thing that happened? Oh, this meal allowed the other characters to have a minute. I get that. But there's still too many characters that are just fighting for time, and then we have other stuff that just doesn't fit. Like, for instance, the fever dreams. We did not need to have all those fever dreams. They could have rewritten that. We've talked about that to death. I'm not bringing that up, but you get it. But hey, what about Bill? Bill and his heart and the passionate kiss that he gave. Oh, I gave a little cheer. I loved Bill and Georgie. And I like the idea of the promise of maybe we'll see her again. And she has her life and he has his life, like two star-crossed lovers, right? Let's face it, they both can retire and she could stay. But I love them together. I love their kiss. I thought it was adorable. And Spy Rosemary was watching and she couldn't wait to spread that joy around to her BFF. Oh, that was cute. I'm okay with all of that. But I wish, what was the gap of time? They could have closed that up and done, I don't know. Even that was done a little weirdly, but I liked it. Good for you. That was cute. All right. Now let's talk about, let's see. First, let me see what y'all have to say and then we'll go from there. I did notice when I was in Casey that Erin and Chris did not interact. She seemed to always be with Pascal or Kevin. It felt weird and very noticeable. I don't know, Nikki. That kind of adds to rumor. That could just be 1,001 things. You want to know why? I've been on that side. I've been on that side when parents have said stuff about our team, my team that I teach with. We noticed this and we noticed that, and none of it was true. There's an explanation for all of it. So I don't have an answer for that, and I'm not worried about it because in the end, they're all big boys and girls and they have to act. There are people who hated each other and had to act on a show together and they were fine. So I'm not going to get into all that. Yes, you did love them and they are too silly. I know they're right and silly. Oh, they need to fix that. Yes, Mike and May are silly. Mike and May feel like Mickey Mouse cartoons from the 1920s, Carrie. I love it. I think it's a drama, not Comedy Central. Thank you. May came to town with such a strong storyline, and now she's just silly. She did, Nikki, but remember, she's part of that change, that retcon. I don't want Lucas with Elizabeth again. Good, Avis. Henry's life is hazelnuts. He's such a savvy businessman. The Canfields need more. When was the last time Joseph talked to the congregation? Ava was a waste. Yes. Ding, bet, Elizabeth. Lucy and Ethel from I Love Lucy brings to mind the E&R silliness. Yeah, well, that was already done and they did it well. That's not happening now. Both Elizabeth and Rosemary have been over the top. It's funny because the way Erin is acting this season is exactly how Chris imitated her when in KC. Oh, oh, what are they saying? The SU ladies haven't published the live +3 for the last 2 episodes. You know what? This is petty of me, and they could say 1,001 things about me, but their name is so long, and I shortened it one time accidentally, and it kinda it, like, stuck, and I'm sorry, Sarah, and I'm sorry, Julie, but I think it's funny because I call them susbutts, but that's not nice. Ah, but their name is so long, so SU. Well, I think we all know what SU means, right? Like F but it's SU. Funny, the Hallmark movies are the same, silly. Oh, some are. Not all are silly. Some are silly in a good way. May went from a very mysterious, very brilliant pharmacist to hairdresser and now a wife and cook. Yes. Nikki, you're right. Too many cooks in the kitchen. This isn't a twist. LS took a sledgehammer to it. Oh, yes. Sledgehammer. I know. Yes. Amen, Lillian. All right, Lisa. Yes, I don't like the way they've written Rosemary this whole season. I think she's bizarre and she flies off the handle and she gets mad at people and she's not the sweet, loving Rosemary we love. And I love her. Number one character for me was Elizabeth, right? Number two character for me has been Rosemary the whole time. And then, of course, I fell in love with Lucas. Now, Aaron is not my number one. Rosemary's not my number one because I don't recognize him. Even Lucas is not my number one. My number one, I didn't have one. But this season, it's Oliver. He's my number one. And Lucas is like number two. And I love the kids all together. Yeah. That would be Lindsay. She doesn't know how to write for an ensemble cast. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Allie's storyline was a waste of screen time and silly. I like Allie's storyline to a certain extent. They gave her a major part and she had more screen time than many people. And I'm so dizzy tonight. And I don't like it. And I don't it's not that I don't like Allie. I just don't like I don't like how they handled it. All right, I did think Faith's use in the episode was a bit convenient. Also, the moment when Nathan was left in the room briefly with Faith and May was a bit awkward. If you don't want to hire extras for Capital City, so why did they add so many characters for Hope Valley with dumb, dead end stories? Thank you, Avis. Bingo. That's why I'm saying, does one talk to the other? They don't even give us many simple, natural, heartfelt moments with cast members anymore, just providing that fizzle into nothing and lameness. Yes, 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 yes. And yes, like the Wyatt kid, what was the point of him? I don't know. Sounds like they're trying to make it LHOPT. All right. Lillian, Bill and Georgie had a better kiss than N and E. Oh, yes. Yes, they did. They brought it. They really did the sizzle. I agree. There are too many characters for a good storyline. I hope the last two episodes will make sense. Chris is good at imitations. He is. He's very good at imitations. Yeah. Yeah, you can't believe the governor wasn't there. It's all crazy. Will we ever see Elizabeth in the schoolroom teaching those kids again? We did. We saw her. We saw her teaching this episode. And I have to say, this season, we've seen her teach more than ever, even out in the classroom of the outside. And I've asked the younger actresses too what they think, and they're like, "Oh my God, the mud, the cold. It's not their favorite thing being out there traipsing through the woods." Bill's grab and kiss. Mwah. And I know we've got a lot of people that have loved him since they were young, and that was such a delicious moment. I loved it. Lucas is the one who could bring in new characters and storylines. They're wasting him. Yeah, because he is governor, right? Okay, so let's talk about little Jack. So little Jack has diabetes. Diabetes 1, type 1, okay? Or juvenile diabetes. That is not the same as diabetes 2. Totally different monster is what I'm going to call it. Totally different disease. It runs in my father's side of the family. And my great grandmother was diabetic. So she would have been young and kicking around in the same of the 20s, right? And she didn't die from diabetes or complications of diabetes. She died of something totally different. And she lived a pretty long life. But my point is this little history, some of you might know it. In 1921, there was a team, I think it was a team of 3 male doctors from Canada. So I do know, I think that maybe When Calls the Heart has a consultant on this, on medical issues. Um, and I think they know some of this. But in 1921, there was a team of doctors that they, even before 1921, but it became well known by 1921, where they came up with the insulin, right? And they were trying it out on animals at the time. Not until it was 1922-ish, 23-ish, they had trials and whatnot, that they started to use it. And the thing of it is that, and this is what kind of, when I thought diabetes, and then I was like, oh, it really was at first like a death sentence. How did you test your blood sugar? How did you know, right? If you had a high, how much insulin did you need? Because believe it or not, what's worse than a high is a low. And you can die because your middle brain shuts down when you have too much insulin. So that's a big deal to put that into a storyline. If you're going to go there, I would hope that you went there with as much grace as you have gone with a character being blind. I hope it's not just poo-pooed, and it's going to be a lot, and it's going to be a lot for a young boy like Little Highland to do, but I think he could bring it. What I wanted to say is that it's Canada, it's the Canadian doctors. And then in 1922-ish, 23-ish, one of the coolest things that happened was, okay, so they started using that insulin, and something that was like a death sentence became something that was a manageable disease. So I'm sure they're going to play around with this and make it that this is what's going to happen with LJ. But I hope that they do it correctly. Are they going to do it correctly, or we're never going to really see it? Just we know he's diabetic, right? We would have to see changes in his diet. We're going to have to see him taking a shot. We're going to have to see him having lows because of the shot, which is very dangerous. There's so much that they can do with this storyline, but I hope that they do it correctly, because if not, it's another insult. And here's the thing that I have to say. Erin's a phenomenal actress. And when Kevin McGarry was carrying little LJ out, and his hand was like, his head was hanging over and he was totally limp, and I loved how Kevin portrayed Nathan. It wasn't Nathan the Mountie, it was Nathan the dad. He was a dad, and he was scared witless, and he just barely got the kid out, and he had him hanging. And then Elizabeth comes and she's propping her son's head up as they're running to get to the infirmary. I understood all of that, just the floppiness of him, and their reactions were great. That was great acting. And then that last, I'm sorry, I'm shouting, I'm wild. I think my blood pressure might be crazy. I'm so wild. That last scene where Faith has to come and tell them that he has diabetes, and the look on Elizabeth's face and how she acts, and when she says, but there's no cure, and how she handled Erin handled that scene like the Erin I know. And that was a good scene. It wasn't underacted or overacted. It made me cry. It was good. And I was like, see, we got that moment there. We could have had it for all kinds of things, not just this. And I was glad they ended on that note. They only have 2 episodes left, so I'm not holding any hope that they will do it justice. Well, they can roll it into next season too. I know that she's got to write a letter. She's got an hour to get it to the doctor of why her child should be someone who receives that medicine, and they're going to go running and go and get him, some, and Mike and May are involved in it, and they're going to go get the medicine for him, which I think is going to be dramatic and serious and amazing. I hope. Thank you. They could have, wait a minute. I think making LJ having diabetes was a bit much. Could have been a bad flu, something like that. Okay. And the flu was going on around then, but they've kind of done stuff like that before. I think they wanted to make it much more serious. They wanted to make it much more life and death. It will cement the relationship of Elizabeth and Nathan together. This is where he acts not like a Mountie, even though he hasn't been doing much Mountie stuff, but like a father. And it'll make them appreciate life and say, oh my gosh, what are we waiting for? Let's get married. Right? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Saw the pic of Lee and L and E together for the next week, I was smiling and I was thinking, L was smiling, and I think he was getting the McGinty news, what we were was being told to him. Oh, it took that long, days? I don't think so. Donna, he already has it. We're never going to see that. We're going to already know. Good Lord. And that's that. That's my wild ride. I'm nuts. I talk for an hour, probably like because I my South Jersey in me today, and I'm not happy. You would think the governor could help with getting the medication. I'm okay if the governor doesn't help. Okay with May and Faith having their connections, and they're taking care of it. The governor would have to talk to the doctors that are on the trial. They would know somebody, make a few phone calls. They could. They could. Elizabeth's father would be able to help. Yes. It could pull them together or pull them apart. Yep. It won't pull them apart. My 9-year-old granddaughter is diabetic. It's not much easier now with all the monitoring and insulin pumps. It's easier, but if they don't do it justice, it will be an insult to us. Sandy, I hear you. Now, I don't have diabetes. It runs in my family, on my dad's side. My father was a diabetic. His mother and father weren't, but his grandmother was. And there's others in our family. My father's brother was a diabetic as well. But my sister, so my father, I'm giving you some history here. My father marries a lovely woman, my mother. And in her family and with her, you have nodules on your pancreas, which means you make too much insulin. So it is like almost being a diabetic, but not like you make too much insulin. And if you make too much, and you have to control it with your diet, if you make too much insulin, you can abuse your pancreas where it's not going to function, right? And so I would have high and then crash, very low blood sugars, which are so dangerous. That's what's extremely dangerous when you also are diabetic and you have too much insulin, you didn't eat enough, anything could set anything off. And when you have your blood sugar crash and your middle brain is shutting down, it's extremely dangerous. It kills brain cells and you can't speak and you go unconscious and all kinds of stuff happens. So with that said, it's not an easy thing. I will be insulted too. Little LJ is going to bring it though. What is it with Elizabeth saying how proud she is of Nathan that he chose to do something is, I know. Yes, she always says it. Yes, and how he handled that. I'm so proud. It's her thing all season. We already talked about that. I don't know. I'm good with your rant on this episode. I love well-told story, and there are moments being passed up. Okay. Yep. Yes. Okay. Keep thinking it's a misdiagnosis. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be because they're going to go for the insulin. So, all right, folks. Send me your emails if you want with all the things that you have to say, good and bad, and I'll put them in a file and I'll send them on. Please explain to me, okay, before we go, what changes there will be coming chief constable, what that would make him above Hargrave? No. Nope. Hargrave had to okay it, he said. And I don't know if it's of his territory or whatever. I'm not sure. I do know that he said that it was just a title, basically. That's what he kind of said. Maybe a pay increase. Oh, yes, Arlene, the Andrea contest. So Andrea was in a few episodes, and this is the question that I have for you. Thank you, Arlene, for reminding me. I'm sorry, I'm looking at what Martha wrote. I'm going to address that in a minute. So Andrea's pregnant, very much so pregnant in this episode. And she's sitting down and then she has to stand up and she has to move around in the infirmary. This is the only question I'm asking. I'm not going to say how many times she had to hide it. I'm asking, how did she very conveniently hide her bump? It was so funny when they panned away and they showed them on the bed and she's sitting down. What did she use to hide her bump? All right, so let's go up to here. And I'll put my address in a minute. My dog is diabetic. She gets shots every day, morning and night. She diabetic, has cataracts and had to have surgery. Oh, your puppy. Okay. Here is it. It's my last name, DERENZIS. Then my first name, ROXANNE at gmail.com. And there we go. Now, if you send me an email and you want me to send it on, I'll only know if in the subject area, because I'll think it's just you talking to me. I'm not going to ever pass along that or share it with anybody. It's actually illegal to share someone's email without their permission. But anyway, people don't realize that. In the subject area, mention this podcast. Just say, podcast, what is this? Today is the blah, 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 the 10th. Mention that. Okay. She uses to hide. Let me go up. The first one my eyeballs go on, that's correct, is who wins. Okay. All right. Carrie, you always win, Carrie. It's clipboard. You're right. It was a clipboard. Good job. Dang it. I'm too wordy. Cindy beat me. All right. Catherine says, thank you, Roxanne. I appreciate your podcast. They keep me going and something to look forward to. Well, thank you. Where did you post your email? Right above here, Nikki. If you go back and you see, it's up here. It's my last name, Derenzis, DERENZIS, and Roxanne, ROXANNE, at gmail.com. I'll post it again. Everybody has it, so I'm not. Yeah, it's my last name, then my first name, all lowercase. And thank you. I just went blah, 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 for one whole hour, right? Our show. What happened to our show? It could break my heart. It makes me mad. It really does. It does. I don't know. It just does. It stinks. It's such a big stinker. All right, friends, you have a good night. Those of you that love The Way Home, tomorrow, Kathy and I are doing the finale, and there's so much to share. And if you never saw The Way Home, please watch. And Chicken Sisters comes on the 30th of March. It's so good. It's on regular Hallmark now. Watch the Chicken Sisters. Oh, one of my favorite characters is the preacher, and that's Matthew James Dowden. And after you've watched, wait to the end, and then go watch my interview I did with him. It was just so fun. And also I have a recap, but I might recap again. I don't know. I don't know how I want to handle that. I think I want my friend to watch, and my friend Karen, and have her join in. It's just so, so cute. You do great, Roxanne. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you, Sandy. All I do is blah, 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 blah. Yes, the finale was amazing, Carrie, wasn't it? Thank you, Lucy, for showing up. Thank you for ranting. Feels good. It does. It does. Yeah, it is. Thank you. Hugs to you. Thank you. I made myself dizzy. Thank you, Roxanne. Sometimes it's good to rant. And I agree that the show isn't what it used to be. No, and I'm mad and I want it back. And I want it back. I want it back. I really like to know how Chris really feels. Avis, Chris has shared with us so many times. And I don't find them to be I don't know. Maybe he's a super good actor, but he can never say enough of how much this is his favorite. He said Lucas is the character that he's played that's most closest to him and who he is. And he enjoys it and he loves it. Everyone says that. I've never met anyone that has ever said they didn't love it. And I believe it. And I hope. Joanne says, I understand your Jersey, blah, blah, blah. I hope that, we get I really think we're getting a season 13, but I hope the writers, Joy, do you hear me? Joy and Lindsay, I really wish that you would get it together. Get it together. And you know what else? I don't want, because I don't care if you put hate mail. I get hate mail. Not a lot of it, but I don't care. I don't want somebody, when this goes on to YouTube, say, it's because you're negative. That's why you can't get an interview. And that's why And I've had people on all season. Okay. That's not what I was saying the other day. I'm tired now. I'm tired of like jumping around and doing the 3 ring circus kind of thing. I never treat any of my guests with disrespect, but I'm not going to lie about a storyline that stinks. It's not the writer's fault. The writers, I mean, it's not the actor's fault, and I'm not going to stink. I'm not going to be censored. There are people who say way worse than I say. So get a grip on yourself. If you're putting yourself out there, you have to take criticism. Not everybody's going to get it on the first try, and stop messing it up. Get it together. All right. All right. Bye. See you later. And tune in for The Way Home, and go watch Chicken Sisters. The writing in both of those shows, oh my God, the writing is outstanding. Chicken Sisters is also a book. I'm thinking of, we're going to do the book. We're going to chat about the book. I've had the author on before. I have that podcast somewhere. Maybe she'll come back. We're going to chat like that, and I'm not ending my podcast, even though I'm just unhappy with, When Calls the Heart and things like that. And we're going to do recap. Please watch it. It's so good. So good. And I love book reading. So if you're a book reader, that would be great. What are you saying about the SU peeps, my little suspects? The SU podcast with Chris is good. Nikki, I don't want to hear that. But watch to the end, because Chris tells about his daughter. I already know. I met his daughter. It was wonderful. And you can see his pure joy at being a dad and how much he loves being with his daughter. It is. It's nice. Yes. I have a problem. I have a problem with honoring people who did really bad things. Yes. That's why I think I am so critical. They waste still talent. I know. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Really, I'm signing off. It's like the Italian goodbye. It takes forever. We kiss each other 14 times. Talk, kiss more. All right. Bye. Good night. See you later.